Welcome back to Fear Given and Rethemed. We are your host, Casey.
And Sean, and today we are back at one of our favorite types of topics. We are doing a haunted attraction review. More specifically, today we'll be talking about our experience at Gatlinburg's mysterious mansion in Tennessee. So the way this episode will work, since we're trying to kind of standardize how we do haunted attraction reviews, we'll be talking about the website itself, ticketing, some pricing if we can find it. We'll move over to the history of the attraction as much as we can dig up. And then we will move into specifically our review. We'll read a couple of public reviews from Yelp and, is it Viator or Viator? Viator?
I think so.
I don't know. And we're going to try to be consistent with kind of a scoring scale so we can start to keep track. And then we will look a little further into behind the scare, if we're able to meet with the owner or some of the actors, kind of do some interview stuff. We'll try to give as much behind the scares and some questions and answers as we can. And that'll wrap it up. So buckle up. This is probably going to be a long one.
Yeah.
Because it was a great experience. And we have a lot of information to go over.
Yeah. And actually, right now, so if you hear any weird sounds, or if you hear, if I feel too far away, we're actually in our car right now. And we are basically just...
Yeah, we are at, Land Between the Lakes?
Yeah, we are at Land Between the Lakes.
Camping in the car. And we are recording this...
In the middle of nowhere.
In the middle of nowhere, and one would say in the middle of the night, in a way. It's dark outside.
It's very dark.
So, we've been doing notes in the car, we've been researching while we're driving, taking a road trip up to TransWorld, so figured we'd hit up a couple of haunted attractions on the way there, make the most of it. So, let's dive right in.
Alrighty.
So, the website, ticketing, pricing, the website summary, one of their taglines is scaring Smoky Mountain visitors for over 40 years. They are open year-round, and they're not the only haunted attraction in this area that's year-round. What was the other one that we visited?
It was Ripley's Haunted Adventure.
Yeah, so we are going to do a podcast on that one as well. It'll probably be a little less detailed, just because it's part of a chain.
I'm sorry.
It's okay.
Yeah, my butt hurts from sitting in this position.
So this one will be a much longer episode in comparison to the Ripley's one, just because with it being part of a chain, it's a little harder to talk with the owner, the designer, or anything else.
Yeah.
So this one we have tons of information. Do you want to read the next kind of summary that they have on their site?
Sure. So, unguided tours face your deepest fears as you find your way through secret passageways, eerie dark corridors, winding staircases, and many spine-chilling chambers in this terrifying 3-story haunted mansion. But beware, you never know what restless, rotting residents might be lurking around the corner in each foreboding room ahead. Or behind you. Join us and release your screams in Gatlinburg's original haunted house, if you dare.
If you dare. That seems to be kind of... Are you good over there?
Sorry, I'm falling.
Okay.
Okay.
You good?
Yeah.
All right. So, the quote, if you dare, seems to be pretty heavily used throughout a lot of their marketing.
I see that.
The Viator summary was, or is, not for the faint of heart, the mysterious mansion takes the idea of a haunted house to the nines. And not just because it's open year-round. A 3-story Victorian mansion with creaking stairways and secret passages, plus plenty of gore, fog machines, and strobe lights. It's the live actors delighting in frighting that will truly send a chill down your spine.
Yeah, that's a good summary.
Yeah. And then another summary that they have is in person on their sign. I tried to kind of pull as many things as I could for this.
Where's this sign at?
I have a picture of it. So it's right outside of the house.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
Yeah, this was to the left of the coffin photo.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So, do you want to read this one?
Sure. Built many days ago, 1980, The mysterious mansion's history, though short, encompasses many of the ghostly aspects of the classic turn-of-the-century haunted house. Within its walls, you will experience a unique and macabre outlet for your imagination. Fun-filled apprehension awaits your visit, if you dare.
If you dare. So general admission, we're going to kind of move into ticketing pricing. So for general admission tickets, it's $22.37 for adults, $15.21
Not
for
bad.
children. Nope. And fun fact, if you have a 6-year-old or under, they're free. But it's not recommended for small children. So,
no, I would not take your small child unless they're like super into it. But I mean, I
yeah,
wouldn't.
You'd have to build up to this.
Yeah,
This isn't a first time.
it's pretty scary. Yeah.
Yeah. Prices do go up a few dollars for October events.
Yeah.
With that being their peak season, completely understandable.
I wonder why it's $22.37. That's so random. It's like very odd.
I don't know. I wonder if it kind of takes into account their taxes and fees, and maybe it used to be 21.
Oh, I know what it is. Because yes, with the tax, when I looked at our receipt, it was 25 per person. So
okay, that's
I
weird.
think it's $22.37 plus Tennessee tax.
Oh, which they did say was like 11 or 12%. It was
I think it's
super
11.7%. But yeah,
Okay.
I think we paid total $50 for us to go.
high. Okay, that's. I mean, I think that was worth it.
Yeah.
So a couple of weird things with this is you're unable to purchase tickets online. Through everything that I researched, you weren't able to buy tickets online, right?
No, I couldn't find anywhere. And it might be on their website, but I couldn't find anything on their website.
I didn't see it on their
Maybe
website.
it was like down or something. I'm not sure.
I don't think it was. So the only thing I could even find on Google was Viator was showing that it was part of the Gatlinburg Ghosts of the Smokies Most Haunted Tour. But
That's a really long title.
It is included in that. It says that all you can do is you pass by a bunch of different places. So you pass by the Gatlinburg Space Needle, First United Methodist Church, White Oak Flat Cemetery, Mountain Mall, Edgewater Hotel and Conference Center, and then Mysterious Mansion. But it did not appear that Viator tickets for that tour actually allowed you to experience the haunted or the Mysterious Mansion.
But
it was just kind of like a walking path, like
that's interesting.
all these places are haunted and these are their stories. So just like a Ghost and Gravestones type tour, I think.
Okay.
But at the very least, it's kind of a marketing thing for them to be on that list.
Yeah.
So kind of cool.
That's pretty cool.
So that kind of wraps up the website ticketing and pricing. So next we're going to move into the history of the attraction.
Ooh.
So the attraction itself is family owned and operated for over 40 years. It was previously owned and managed. Just kidding.
What?
No, I don't know what I wrote here.
Oh.
So the attraction is family owned and operated for over 40 years. It was previously a haunted attraction in Miracle Strip Amusement Park in Panama City Beach, Florida.
Okay.
It ended up closing there and it kind of got resold elsewhere, and we'll talk about that a little later. But the current owner, which is still in the family that owned it in Miracle Strip Amusement Park, they live full-time between Panama Beach and Gatlinburg. The Gatlinburg attraction was built in 1980. So from here, we'll talk a little bit about the current general manager, which we got to speak to a little bit after we experienced the attraction, as well as a few pivotal individuals who partnered together and developed the attraction, and an event that very well could have shut it down for good and made it to where we weren't able to visit it. So kind of its well-being today, what they did to kind of resolve that.
Yeah, so thank you guys for, if you're listening to this, thank you for keeping it since 1980. I'm sure it's had its up and downs, but
Sure.
it was an amazing experience, and we'll talk about that today if you want to keep listening.
Yeah. Do you want to talk about the current general manager we spoke to?
Sure. His name is Kenneth Cunahan?
Sure, yeah.
I don't know.
I didn't hear him say it.
Sorry if I'm saying that wrong, but yeah, he was very, very nice. According to Yelp, is this like a review that he said?
So this is kind of like a bio that it sounds like he put in.
Oh, okay. So it says, I have been with the house for more than 8 years now. I started as a seasonal actor working during the summer and fell in love with the house and staff. I was offered a full-time position during my second year and jumped at the opportunity after pushing myself to become one of the top actors in the house. I eventually became an actor/supervisor. In fall of 2021, I was given the opportunity to become the general manager of this amazing house, and it has been a dream come true. I absolutely love this house and what we do here. I get to do what I love every day with people that share the same love and passion I have for this house and what we do. I truly believe that if you can find a job doing what you love every day, then you never really have to work.
I can get behind that.
Yeah, for
That's
sure.
why we do this podcast.
Yep.
Because we enjoy it.
Yeah. So yeah, he's really cool. We asked a lot of questions and
A lot of questions. Yeah. Holy cow.
And he was patient with us and seemed like he really enjoyed answering those questions. So we really appreciate that.
Yeah, I feel like we stayed, what do you think, an hour? Just talking to him? At least 30 minutes.
Well, at least 30 minutes, yeah.
Yeah. It was such a long conversation. We even stepped away just so that people could actually buy tickets and keep going to the event. So we didn't slow them down.
Yeah, I didn't want them to be slowed down because of this, but
right.
But yeah, we really appreciate the time that people take to talk to us when we do get a chance to do that.
Yes, definitely. So the two main pivotal people that I feel like if they didn't exist, Mysterious Mansion would not be alive, both in its origin and definitely not today. So those two people are Vincent or Val Valentine, as well as Lee Copland. So I didn't know anything about these people. I should have, I feel like. Some of these names, growing up in Florida, we didn't grow up near Panama City Beach, but being in the theme park kind of industry of what we enjoy, and I like doing deep dives about like Imagineers, Universal engineers, things like that. So these two names are kind of pivotal in that whole themed attraction industry. Yeah. I don't know. Hate to use that word multiple times, but so Vincent Val Valentine was the original designer of Mysterious Mansion. Unfortunately, he did pass away in 2015. He was 98 years old.
Wow.
Which I think just goes to show if you enjoy what you do, maybe you live longer.
Yeah, because he probably, he had a lot going on, but I'm sure he was not as stressed as some people with a 9-to-5 job.
Right. So, I looked up a ton of articles about him. Once I understood kind of the basis of who he was, I just kept going and going and going.
Okay.
So the notes for this just kind of probably spiraled out of hand, but we're going to cover a lot, and I'm going to try to go as smoothly as I can. Not quickly, but smooth.
All right.
So according to the Panama City News Herald, they interviewed his nephew, Val's nephew, Ron Owens, and they talked to him about his uncle's impact on the community and specifically the attraction industry, kind of nationwide, really. Ron Owens, his nephew, maintains a portfolio of his uncle's work and accomplishments. So who was Vincent Valentine? Do you want to give us an overview?
Sure. So Vincent Valentine started as an artist and cartoonist in the 1930s at Fleischer Studio.
I don't know if it's Fleischer or Fleischer. I would guess Fleischer, but I don't know.
In Miami, Florida, where he illustrated Popeye, Betty Boop, the animated Gulliver's Travels, and was the original creator of Casper the Ghost.
I love Casper the Ghost.
The Ghost.
The Ghost.
Yeah, me too.
I remember growing up, and when one of the movies came out, Pizza Hut had the hand puppets they could get, and they were the rubber ones of all three of the the brothers of Casper or whatever they were. Fatso.
Yeah.
Oh gosh, Fatso's the only one I remember. Stinky. Oh, what was the third one?
I have no idea.
Somebody's listening to this yelling out the answer.
I know.
Fatso, Stinky. I don't know.
That's a good trivia question.
That is a really good trivia question. So yeah, this guy, original creator of Casper the Ghost, one of the movies I grew up with, one of the iconic characters that probably influenced why I enjoy horror today.
Yeah.
Kind of crazy that we were able to go through a haunted house that he directly had a hand in designing.
I know, that's pretty awesome.
Not once, but twice he's designed this type of attraction in this specific format.
That's really cool.
So not only does he design attractions, not only is he an artist and a cartoonist, but we're going to talk a little bit more about what he has done in his lifetime. So
I can't believe you stole all my pillows.
We'll take this one.
No, it's okay.
So he moved to Panama City Beach in the 1960s, where he worked on attractions such as Silver Springs in Ocala. We have kayaked there, gosh, at least 3 or 4 times now.
Yep, love it there.
Love it, it's gorgeous. He purchased a roadside animal attraction that was struggling at the time. He renamed it Jungle Land and added an enormous concrete volcano with a smoke effect. So imagine kind of a rainforest cafe, Disney Springs, like this larger than life, maybe not larger than a real volcano, but
Yeah.
either way, this huge concrete volcano that you probably wouldn't normally see in Florida.
Right.
And he added the like a fake lava inside, like it was dressed to the nines in terms of set dressing.
Wow.
So soon after that, once it was kind of going and it was really popular and profitable, Jungle Land was purchased by Miracle Strip Amusement Park, who then used Valentine's talent to design and develop attractions on projects such as Dante's Inferno, The Abominable Snowman, Shipwreck Island Water Park, and Old House.
What was Old House?
So we'll talk about that, because
Okay.
that's where this really all started. You haven't read any of my notes, have you?
No.
This is great. So he did serve as the art director and designer on all of these projects, as well as multiple others throughout his lifetime, both with and away from Miracle Strip Amusement Park.
Okay.
So, Old House was the original attraction design that was in Panama City Beach at Miracle Strip Amusement Park. It was replaced by Blue Thunder in 1999, in which the original Old House was then moved to be part of Race City, which is another amusement park in Panama City Beach, which is apparently pretty large. So they rebranded it and called it Haunted House, and it is still in operation, at least as far as I could see on Google and their website.
It's just called Haunted House.
Just called Haunted House
Okay.
instead of Old House, but apparently it's almost identical in like the layout and everything. I think they literally just picked it up and moved it, or
Wow.
they may have just kind of sold different parts of the land and maybe it stayed as where it was.
Yeah.
So a few of its props did go to other attractions. I believe Alabama. There's an attraction there that has some of the props.
Oh, cool.
But the Old House and Mysterious Mansion, I believe, are near identical
Oh.
in terms of their layout design. If you look at pictures side by side, they look identical.
Oh, that's
pretty
cool.
close. So the original intent behind the attraction of Old House was no live actors, no pop-out animatronics, no costume characters, none of that. And it was just to let people's imaginations kind of run wild and scare themselves.
Yeah.
Because they maintained the escape part of it.
Right.
So imagine going through this haunted house and having no actors. Would it have still been scary? Because you don't know they don't have actors. You're just waiting for it
Right.
the whole time. But you're still having to escape.
Yeah, but you don't know what else could pop out. Like,
Exactly.
You know.
So next we're going to talk about Lee Coplin.
Oh, okay.
So Lee Coplin was the partner of Vincent Valentine in development of Mysterious Mansion. I don't know that Lee Coplin was kind of partnering with him during the development of Old House, but I know he was during the development of what we saw in Gatlinburg. And I believe, I very well could be wrong, but everything I could find, it seems like Lee Coplin, his descendants or family, are the owners of Mysterious Mansion today.
Oh, okay.
I could be wrong, but I tried really hard to look through business records and things like that I could find online through the Chamber of Commerce and things like that, or Secretary of State, whatever site I was
you
on.
did a deep dive.
I tried really hard. So I believe it is the Coplin family. Due to marriage, I think their last name may be Hero.
Oh, okay.
Again, this is all trying to find it on public knowledge.
Yeah.
I did reach out to the general manager, but he is also getting ready to travel to TransWorld, so no sweat. He didn't email back yet, so I tried to kind of do some more digging on my own.
Okay.
So Lee Copland died at the age of 77 in 1988. So obviously short of his time. I think it would have been really cool to have seen what else could have happened with Mysterious Mansion had he stayed alive or been just as invested as. I mean, you figure Vince Valentine died in 2015. I think it would have been really cool to see them continue projects together.
Yeah.
I don't. I would guess, based on everything I read about these two guys, they didn't stop working a day in their life.
Wow, it doesn't seem like it.
For them to retire, I feel like would have been very difficult.
Yeah.
Being that creative.
Right.
So, who was Lee Copland?
I don't know. Who was he?
Well, I will tell you, unless
Okay.
you want to read it.
Yeah, I can read it since you've been talking a lot.
Alright.
So, per your notes, Lee Copland started as an iron worker on the Hoover Dam in the 30s, then got invited to move to California and manage one of his brother's miniature golf courses. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
When miniature golf courses started closing due to the Great Depression, Lee's wife, Carol, suggested he create something to draw in more customers.
Yeah,
That's
that
pretty
sounds
cool.
like something you would do.
Yeah,
Like,
for
not
sure.
let the business close, but hey, why don't you try this or that?
Yeah. That was the start of Copland's history of creating concrete structures of creatures such as a serpent that would swallow your golf ball on the last hole, miniature sphinx, giant monkeys, and many more. He developed many other miniature golf courses in several states throughout his lifetime. That's really cool.
Yeah, I didn't list it there, but the giant monkey had red light eyes.
Ooh.
Or red lit eyes.
That's creepy.
Yeah. I imagine kind of do you remember the dinosaur off of, was it Atlantic Boulevard? At the
Yeah.
miniature golf course?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's, what a staple. If you're from Jacksonville, you know exactly what we mean. Duval. Just kidding.
Oof.
Okay, so Lee was also, I guess you put he was heavily inspired by Walt Disney. I can
did
see
indeed
that.
put that, yeah.
Yeah, I can see that.
Oh, yeah.
In the late 50s and early 60s, he constructed his most well-known amusements, Goofy Golf and Magic World.
I believe Goofy Golf was part of Magic World. It was really difficult to find what exactly Magic World was. I didn't know if it was its own entity or if it was part of Goofy Golf. I don't believe Magic World is still in operation, but
I've never
Goofy
heard of
Golf is.
Okay, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Goofy Golf was Panama City Beach's first custom fabricated amusement and is still run by the Copland family today.
That's crazy.
That would be cool to go to.
We're going to link their website
Yeah.
in the show notes.
Okay. Magic World, according to Panama City News Herald, was a fantasy castle with a series of small dioramas based on the Grimm brothers' fairy tales, Bambiland, a deer zoo, and the Sky Ride. Tombstone Territory, a western frontier town with a railroad and gunfighting desperados that was opened in Panama City Beach in 1963. That sounds fun.
Yeah, so I thought this was really cool. Obviously, I'm a big fan of Grimm Brother fairy tales. In fact, what was the name of the other place we went while we were in Chattanooga?
Oh, we went to Chattanooga. It was Rock City Gardens.
Was that where we saw
the ferry caverns?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah,
so
they
Rock
have a new
City
exhibit, Hall of the Mountain King, in which I played the song, I think 4 times, and you kept being really annoyed.
Yeah.
You're like, why are you playing that? What is this? And then I turned it off, and we went into that area, because I had been reading signs, and they had been talking about Hall of the Mountain King in like 4 or 5 signs. So, alright, I picked up the hint. Like, I remember this being a song. I like classical music. So I started playing it. We went into the cave, and of course, they're playing it. So you're like, when did you go ahead? When did you leave me? I never left you. Never.
Whatever.
I just had a good feeling there, and I'll play the song if they themed a whole...
It was one sign that I didn't read.
It was more than one, and it was on their website.
Whatever.
But
I was enjoying the nature.
So those are Lee Copland and Vincent Valentine. A ton of credit, I think, should go to them. Still, when we were talking to Kenneth, the current GM, he mentioned both of them. I don't think he mentioned them by name, but he mentioned that, this had started in Panama City Beach. He talked about Goofy Golf. Um, so he was pretty. He knew about Casper the Ghost and the original creator being the designer for the Mysterious Mansion. So he had a ton of knowledge, and I think that goes to show his investment into the property,
Yeah.
the attraction, the business, kind of all of that. So that was really cool for him to lead us on that track of knowledge, for us to kind of look into ourselves.
Yeah.
So, part one was if those two guys hadn't collaborated on this, we would have not had it. We would have not experienced this.
Right.
But going towards more recent days, do you remember the wildfires in 2016 that kind of went through Gatlinburg? I think it
Yeah.
destroyed part of Dollywood. Is that the same?
I think so, yeah.
Okay. So,
I vaguely remember that.
yeah. So I looked into these wildfires a little bit. The wildfires went across Gatlinburg in 2016. They destroyed almost 2,500 buildings.
Wow.
They burned through almost 18,000 acres. It caused an estimated $2 billion in losses
Jeez.
and also killed 14 people.
Oh, that's so sad.
Do you know how this fire allegedly started?
I believe it was arson, right?
It was arson. Apparently, it was two teenagers, and I only looked this up on one site, so if this is wrong, I'm really, really sorry to these two teenagers. I don't have them by name because I think that's probably insensitive if I did.
Yeah.
So, it was allegedly started by two teenagers that were, what's the word? Kind of innocently playing with matches, but they were also playing with matches in the Great Smoky Mountains National Park, so I would assume it was not on purpose.
Guys, don't smoke in the mountains, please. It's
Or
not.
play with matches.
Or play with matches.
I know they're called the Great Smoky Mountains, but maybe
Yeah.
let them.
Let's not actually make it smoky.
Yeah. So Mysterious Mansion was right in the line of fire. Like on the news, everybody kept saying the mansion's next, the mansion's next. Like there's no way for them to avoid it. So as a really quick potential resolution, because at this point you figure you can either do nothing or you can do something.
Right.
Like even if the something doesn't work, at least you tried. So as a really quick resolution, they had sprinkler heads just kind of laying around, already mounted on PVC pipes. So they set those up and started just spraying the trees and all the surrounding area that they possibly could. The fire never went past any of the sections that they sprayed.
Wow, that's amazing.
That's crazy. Like, quick thinking, that's it.
Yeah?
What type of repairs? Do you want to read that part?
Sure. So the only repairs that they had to do was from wind damage on the exterior for lighting and props. Then they had a lot to sweep up from both inside and outside the attraction.
Apparently there were a lot of leaves that had blown into the attraction.
I can see that.
So I don't remember if the kind of the upper windows actually had a full opening in.
Oh.
I don't know.
Yeah, that's
But yeah,
interesting.
that was a big thing that they said. They said there really wasn't a lot to repair. Like
That's
obviously
a blessing.
compared to the entire surrounding area.
Yeah, that's really lucky. Encryption on one of the tombstones outside reads ashes to ashes. That's clever.
Yeah.
They were back in operation the next week. That's awesome.
I believe that tombstone was there before this event ever took place.
Really?
Yeah.
That's
So just kind of
creepy.
apropos.
Wow.
I mean, ashes to ashes isn't like an uncommon phrase.
That's true.
But it was kind of out of all the ones they could have. I
What a-
could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure they said it was there before.
What a coincidence.
And back in operation the next week?
Good for them.
Jeez, like that quick turnaround time.
Yep.
The only thing I'm curious about is how much traffic did they get that next
After,
week?
yeah, probably not a lot because you don't want to be in an area where it's all smoky and stuff.
Right.
Yeah, but I mean,
I bet they probably did, in terms of, they were probably operational, but because of the low staff, I would be extremely surprised based on the people we met there. I'd be really shocked if they weren't helping the community during this.
oh, I'm sure.
Like,
yeah.
this whole community as a whole was incredible to be around. Like, we went to Anarchista, we went to Ripley's, we went to Pigeon Forge and did a couple of things there, the Titanic Museum.
Yeah.
And everywhere we went, I don't think we ever had any anybody that was rude, anybody
No,
that was.
it's Tennessee. It's that good old southern
But yeah, it wasn't like
hospitality.
Florida South. It was like
No, never is.
genuine, nice people,
Yes.
manners, courtesy, like all that jazz.
And that's why I
What
want
you
to move
think
to
of
Tennessee.
the South?
Yeah.
Yeah, without any of the negative stuff.
Amazing food too, by the way.
Oh, great food. So that wraps up the history of Mysterious Mansion.
Alrighty, cool.
Now we're going to move on to reviews.
Oh, okay.
So I have curated several different reviews, both negative and positive. I wanted to give a completely non-biased approach to what other people think before we get into our own thoughts.
Okay.
Sir, what?
Are you just Australian all of a
Yep.
sudden?
Yep, 100% Australian.
Sir.
So sorry, I've lost my mind.
Yep, I know.
So they had an article on their wall of the attraction where they said that they were rated the 5th in top haunts of Yelp in 2023.
Nice.
So to give more of a criteria instead of saying it was completely subjective or objective, the criteria that I could find were total volume as well as the ratings of the reviews. So this doesn't actually mean that anybody from Yelp went here or
Okay.
made a list.
Okay.
It seems like it was just, all right, how many reviews do you have?
Yeah.
Cool. What's the rating of them? Cool. We're going to put you here.
Right.
So purely a metric-based system, numbers-based, no real
Yeah, but still.
interaction from the company itself that posted it.
Right, but do they ever? I mean, does Yelp have time to do that?
I mean, I don't know. There are other haunt associations that will send out reviewers. There's Scare Factor.
Yeah.
Oh gosh, that's the only one that comes to mind right now.
I would love to be just a full-time haunt.
That would be awesome.
Like, not, like, obviously we want to own a haunt, but a
Mhm.
full-time haunt and, like,
Reviewer? Yeah.
Just to travel and just go to different haunts and
Yeah.
help them kind of.
We need to be like Grim Life Collective. Like, talk about
Yeah.
goals.
Yeah,
Grim Life Collective, that's the goal.
yeah, they're pretty good at what they do.
Really hoping. Would you go up to them if you saw them at TransWorld?
I don't know.
Would you run up and say, "Oh, baby ghoul"?
No, because I'm sorry, but I hate that saying.
Yeah, it's
That's
not.
why I changed our intro, by the way. If you've noticed that, I hate that.
It's not something I do. Like, it doesn't bother me that they do it. It's just, if we started it now, I would
No.
either feel, one, uncomfortable just because that's not something we use, and two, I don't want to copy them.
No.
Like, they do their thing, we do our
Yeah.
thing. I just think it'd be cool to meet them.
Yeah, they look really cool.
Let's take turns on these reviews.
Okay.
But I want to switch things up a little.
Oh, okay.
I want you to read this in the voice that you think this person would have.
Okay,
right.
cool.
So, starting off, you're going to be Evelyn B. from Tallahassee, Florida.
It was really not that scary, especially for the price. Plus, the line we waited in was really long, while the mansion itself did not take us long to walk through. 2 out of 5 stars.
Ugh, how ridiculous.
Jeez, Evelyn, give him a break.
Right. I mean, Tallahassee, I get it. They're probably scary, but
Oh my god, and I was so hungover from our frat party last
you
night.
think Evelyn is... you think Evelyn is in college age when she
No,
wrote
her
this?
boyfriend. Yeah, probably.
Evelyn?
Evelyn.
That
B.
name sounds like the 1930s.
Well, listen, you said you said pretend to be someone, so I did.
That's true. All right. So I'm going to be Rick H. from Gulf Breeze, Florida. And these are all real reviews. I didn't make these up.
Well, I
These
would
are
hope
all
not.
from Yelp or Viator or other reputable sites. Like, I didn't just make these up.
Also, when were these reviews?
So I did not write the dates on here,
Okay.
but they are
Pretty
really
recent?
anywhere in the last, since Yelp's been around.
Oh, so
I don't think Yelp's been around since 1980. I could be wrong, but I doubt it.
Okay.
So I don't think that the dates were as important when I was reviewing this because they were really all scattered from, I remember somewhere 2016, 2018, 2023.
Okay.
So a mixture of older and newer. But I didn't want to put the dates because I didn't want to associate any of these with the current staff or with old staff. These are just reviews of the attraction since its origin.
Okay.
So I try to kind of stay exclusive of date or staff.
Okay. All right, go on.
So Rich H from Gulf Breeze, Florida.
All right, Rich, what you think?
Meh. $10 a person to walk around a house with a dude jumping out of you with a mask on for 10 minutes. Not really worth the money, especially for a large group. Maybe fun for a local for Halloween. Otherwise, just a tourist trap. 3 out of 5 stars, though.
That was pretty good.
Yeah?
Yeah.
All right. We paid more than $10 a person.
First of all, this was probably a long time ago because it was $10 a person.
Probably.
That's a steal.
Yes, I agree. So, a dude jumping out of you with a mask on. Again, this guy's from Florida.
Yeah.
He's probably seen a lot in his lifetime.
That is
so
true.
you're already slated to expect the worst in terms of like scariness. When you're dealing with bath salts on a weekly basis, nothing's really scary.
And Gulf Breeze? Who's from Gulf Breeze?
I don't even know where Gulf Breeze is.
I don't
I'd
either.
assume it's on the
Gulf
west side. Yeah.
Yeah.
So my personal opinion, I thought it was fun as not being a local, and we weren't even there during Halloween.
Yeah.
So, whatever. I don't think it was a tourist trap. I think there were a ton of other places in the Pigeon Forge and Gatlinburg area.
Also, it was off the beaten path, so it wasn't like...
Right. They're not, like, on the main strip.
I think it was a perfect place for them to be.
I 100% agree.
So the next one is Apollo Reviews from Harrisburg, Pennsylvania.
I want to say this was a guy's picture.
Oh, okay.
But it was listed under this name.
Okay, I'll just read it regular.
Okay.
While we went the week before Halloween, it wasn't very busy the night that we visited.
Are you hooked on phonics tonight? Goodness.
Okay, so that's not a complete sentence. While we went the week before Halloween. That's not a sentence.
All right, well, just assume there's a comma afterwards.
Okay, well,
Jeez.
there's not, so he's...
I might have typed it wrong.
Oh. It wasn't very busy the night that we visited, but we still waited in line longer than it took to get through the mansion. Part of the holdup is the slow ticket process. It took about 45 minutes to get inside with only 2 other groups in front of us. Once we were finally inside, it took maybe 10 minutes to get through the entire mansion. The entire experience was lame, not scary at all. Really, there was nothing remarkable about the trip. After we got back outside, all of us in our group looked at each other and said, that was it. We won't be back. 1 out of 5 stars. Okay, so you're going the week before Halloween, and I mean, you have to assume that it's going to be, even if it's not as busy as you think it is.
I feel like as soon as September starts, it's haunt season.
Yeah.
Like, that's the latest it starts.
And the reason why their ticket process is probably so slow is because they are behind, like, a thing. So I don't know if during Halloween they have anybody that is, like, going down the line and, like, you know, that's what I would do if I were them, is to, like, do, like, a ticket person in the line.
The only thing I agree with this review is the slow ticket process.
Right.
I get it.
Yeah, for sure.
Because I don't know what their process is when it gets peak season. We walked in, and there was nobody in there. There were people hanging out outside, scared to go in, I think.
Yeah.
But
that was weird.
But I don't know how they would handle it. I'm sure they have a process.
I'm sure they do.
But until we experienced it,
they're not dumb.
I can see them being frustrated with a slow ticket process. So
I agree.
And then the whole maybe 10 minutes to get to the entire mansion. Again, you're peak haunt season, so you're not going to be able to experience what we experienced, where you can take your time. There's very few people in front of you or behind you. Mm-hmm. Haunt season, rarely will you be able to go through any haunted attraction and not be, I don't want to say rushed, but you have to remember these are businesses.
Yeah,
you have to maintain a
you
specific throughput.
Right.
If they don't match those numbers, you could be waiting in line for hours. So, yeah, you can complain about the 45 minutes, but you can't also complain about how short your experience is.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean,
you're not the only ones that have that.
Think about Halloween Horror Nights. You pay an insane amount of money to
stand. The line.
Yes.
But can you imagine the wait times if they let you in group by group and even if they separated the groups 30 seconds?
That would make you wait way...
30 seconds between groups would be insane.
Yeah.
Impact to their throughput. That would be
That would not
Somebody
be
would
good.
be getting fired to make that
Right.
call.
Yeah.
So
There's no way you can do that.
Right. 13th floor is the same way.
Yeah.
The only time you're going to be able to avoid that is if you're going to pay the premium, and you're going to probably end up paying $50 to $60 for that experience.
Yeah.
And you're either one, going to wait in the line a lot longer, even if you pay that.
Yeah, you have
Like,
to be
there's
patient.
a consequence you have to deal with and be okay with somewhere in there.
Right.
Next review is David Calvert. I don't know where he is from.
Okay.
He said, "Not your run-of-the-mill haunted attraction. They care enough to really scare the bejesus out of you. We try to never miss it when we're in Gatlinburg. 5 out of 5 stars." So clearly,
Yeah.
not his first time.
No.
Puts that on the list. And honestly, I can relate with that. If we ever go back to Gatlinburg,
yeah,
which I would
for sure.
love to do,
Yeah, we will.
I would do this every single time without fail.
Oh, yeah.
Like when we go to Orlando and Halloween Horror Nights is our standard annual thing.
Yeah.
In Gatlinburg,
I mean,
100%.
I would love to go to Gatlinburg during the, like, fall time anyways, because it's beautiful.
Yeah.
And it just, you know, I would just want to go back just to go back.
Yeah, I bet it's
in that time.
gorgeous.
So, yeah. I mean, and plus we didn't get to do everything I wanted to do, so.
Right.
Okay, so another one. This is from Holly S. I'm a big fan of haunted houses, and I have to say this one had some really fun and unique parts to it. First of all, it's an actual house with multiple floors, which gave it a nice, authentic feel. The set decorating and lighting were fantastic and very creative. One of my favorite aspects was the fact that you had to look for the doors in each room and feel your way in total blackness at times. It was terrifying and so cool. I highly recommend it. Not for the faint of heart, though. 5 out of 5 stars.
Well,
I agree with Holly.
Yeah, I agree. Next, we've got Nathan G. from South Haven, Mississippi.
Oh, Mississippi.
Yep. I'm going to butcher this accent, but that's all right.
God.
I must say, I fully went into this with the anticipation that it would be completely lame. I enjoy things like that, though, because it gives me great material for my sarcasm. However, this really wasn't bad in a not lame kind of way. I'm not particularly jumpy, so none of the cheap jumps startled me. I was, however, impressed with the layout, decor, and generally well thought out behind-the-scenes workings that allowed a staff of only 2 to fully interact with the guests throughout the complex maze. One suggestion, make this more puzzle-based, or have at least one puzzle-based room. I realize it will take longer for guests to complete, but combining the excellent layout with an escape room feel would be worth the higher admission fee, and changing the puzzles periodically would ensure repeat customers for many years. 4 out of 5 stars.
That was good.
Thanks. So
Yeah. All right, Nathan, I get what you're saying. However, it is pretty much an escape game. You have to find your way out.
It's not a puzzle-based one.
No,
but
you just find hidden doors.
Right.
But, yeah, I mean, I could see where he's coming from. But I think they could do, like, a separate escape thing.
If they had a building next door
Yeah.
where they didn't have to use any of their square footage, I think they could absolutely make kind of a sister business out of a... You could even kind of piggyback off the same story and say, you know, if you really want to escape, this is a specific character you're escaping from. You know, this is the little girl, or this is Chaos and Mayhem. Like, you could really theme those in correlation.
Yeah.
So, I get what he's saying, but I don't know that it would be the best business move to take up square footage or slow down throughput. Even with the higher costs, I don't know that you're going to get the break-even point for slowing down versus the admission cost. So I get it, but I think they need a different building for that, I would say.
Okay, the last one is from Hubert
This
A.
is my favorite.
Do you want to do it?
This was the first review I found. No, you can read it, but I think I was just in awe reading this when I got to the end, because I thought, who decided some of these decisions?
Okay.
So go ahead and read it.
Hubert A. on Viator. So I assume this is a really old guy.
I hope so.
If your objective is to be scared and thrilled, this is your cup of tea. If you were looking for real ghost stories in the house in which the hauntings happen, skip this. I also recommend not for children under 8. 4-year-old in our group and me just wanted out after the first 2 rooms.
I thought I had mistyped it, but nope.
Great if you like Halloween haunted houses. Okay, so a 4-year-old was in their group.
Wait, how many stars did he give it?
Oh, sorry. 3 out of 5 stars.
So he was happy with it.
He was alright with
But
it.
he took a 4-year-old. It's not like this place looks like a family-friendly environment for a child. They have on multiple signs, children not recommended.
Hubert, what?
You could ask the staff, and they would probably say,
maybe the 4-year-old was like, no, I want to go.
Who knows? So
I mean, if our 4-year-old was like kicking a fit wanting to go, I'd be like, all right, come on.
I think our 4-year-old would be, I don't know.
I wouldn't allow it.
For this one, no. I would agree.
It's too much.
I would have a sitter, or I would have almost like a parent swap or a child swap type thing with people that we would go with.
Right.
So yeah, I mean,
Those were fun.
I think their age recommendation is above 8.
Mm-hmm.
I think that might be a little young, depending on the kid.
That's true. Depending on the immaturity level.
Do you think this was overall, before we get into our reviews, or scoring specifically, do you think this was scarier than one Halloween Horror Nights house?
Yes.
Okay, I would agree.
Absolutely.
And Halloween Horror Nights recommends 13 and up.
I don't think Halloween Horror Nights is scary to me.
I think it has its times. But once you understand the limits, is like a jump scare. That's it. Like
I think I've just been so many times that it's
there's
like...
that, you're in a conga line, you're not ever separated from your group unless you slow down. Alright, so our scoring criteria is going to be 1 through 5 on 10 different topics.
Goodness gracious.
I know. So we're going to go through, we tried to separate these out, or I came up to separate these out because I wanted to kind of construct a rubric that we could apply to every haunted attraction we go to, and we can kind of start to compile a spreadsheet almost, since I love metrics, to be able to kind of start ranking these as we attend them.
Okay.
So the topics are going to be theme and story, first impressions, acting, lighting, effects, audio, set design, customer service, merchandise or offerings, and then our final thoughts. And then we will average all of our scores and kind of give it a final rating based on that. Cool?
Okay. Do you want to take a quick break?
Yeah.
We'll put in our
we'll
music.
do like bats or something.
Bats or something. Okay, that sounds good. We'll take a quick break, and then when you come back, we will go over these ratings.
Welcome back.
Oh, okay.
Sorry, we didn't plan that at all. Who was gonna start?
That's okay. It was our first break in an episode, so we're testing that out. All right.
Yeah. Who's our sponsor for today?
I don't know. We'll get there eventually.
Modern Wigscraft sponsored this episode.
There you go.
It's a home haunt.
Thanks, Modern Wigscraft.
Not for profit, and we'd love to be commercial one day. So them's the goals. All right.
Okay.
So the first category in our scoring is theme and story. What was your rating?
I wanted to give it a 3.5 out of 5.
And I said, no, we don't do half points.
Yeah, so I gave it a 4 out of 5 because I was teetering more towards 4, but...
Yeah. So I gave it a 3 out of 5.
Okay.
The attraction itself does not have a specific storyline necessarily.
Mm-hmm.
When we were talking to Kenneth, they typically develop a more overarching theme across the event or the season, and then they theme characters to fit that. So they don't try to do the impossible almost and push a storyline into the customer's face.
Yeah.
I hope that drink doesn't fall.
I hope not either. Here, I'll put it up here.
So we talked with him a little bit about, where does story fit within their attraction? developing a specific storyline typically goes unnoticed by guests. Is that a sneeze?
Yeah, I was trying to sneeze, sorry.
That was a really quiet sneeze. Um, we talked to them about some of their previous themes. They've done Twisted Tales, which kind of use the original endings of Grimm Brother fairy tales.
Yeah, that sounds
Um,
cool.
They also, so that's kind of the second time we brought up Grimm Brother fairy tales.
Mm-hmm.
I like this episode. To put the story directly in front of the guests, what they did was they made visual cues and kind of artwork on each of the doorways
Mm-hmm.
with written lines or quotes taken kind of out of the context of the stories to almost clue in the guest to what the next tale they were going to encounter was going to be.
Oh.
So it could have been Cinderella, could have been the Seven Dwarfs, could have been Jack and the Beanstalk, kind of any of those.
Yeah.
And one question I had was, when we were looking for the doorways, they were often unlit.
Yeah.
They were in a part of the room that you couldn't really see very well. Maybe it was a bookcase or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
So what they did was they just added individual pin lights so that they could maintain visibility of the added story elements.
That's smart.
Yeah, I thought that was really, really well done without a lot of added cost, because those pin lights can be anywhere between, a couple of dollars to, you can get really high-end ones, but you don't
Right.
need them.
Yeah.
So even with that added lighting and having a pretty obvious in-your-face storyline, some of the guests still claimed that they didn't notice or they didn't understand the story and the theme.
Hmm.
They had the same exact issue in a few years prior when they tried to do an altered theming of Alice in Wonderland that even had the White Rabbit in the waistcoat
Mm-hmm.
at the beginning as like the introduction character. Poof, gone right out of the customer's memories by the end of it.
Yeah.
I think we have typically spent the majority of our time developing the theming, storyline, and characters for
So
our
much
haunt.
time.
And I mean, if we asked the people that went to our haunt this past year, they
Mhm.
probably remember almost none of them.
Probably.
Like, we didn't have a lot of characters necessarily acting, but we had a lot of themed rooms. We had the stories online.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't try to push the story in front of anybody's face. I think, at the very least, it was more for my own enjoyment of writing the stories, developing those characters.
Yeah. I feel like you should still have a story. Whether or not you
Yeah.
share it is up to you.
Yeah, you need
But-
that almost character Bible
You do, yeah.
of information to pull from.
Mm-hmm.
So my own thought is, if a haunt doesn't have a theme or a cohesive background or storyline,
Mm-hmm.
I think then people would complain about it.
Yeah.
Because they would go, well, that didn't make any sense.
Well, you know what? They're gonna find something to complain
Well,
about.
that is exactly what the review showed.
So, I mean,
So a question I have, and I'm curious your thoughts.
okay.
What's the limit between creating an environment versus creating a story? What is easier to relate to, or what do you typically clue into quicker? I know these are all very enormous questions, kind of on the spot, but
Yeah. So, that's a really good question. I think when I go into a haunted house, I'm not necessarily looking for the story.
mhm.
I'm more so looking for like typical environment. Like, I like.
So give me some specifics, like give me some examples.
Okay, so I can like, if I'm going into a haunted house and there's, vines and there's plants everywhere and bugs and stuff like that, I can typically kind of tell what the story might be like, whatever character is there, and like what's going to happen and what
Okay.
that story is based on the environment.
So you kind of create your own story
Yeah,
based on the environment rather than it being given to you.
correct. Yes.
Okay, that's fair.
Mhm.
I think that's a good answer.
Yeah.
All right. Do you have any questions?
I don't think so.
Okay, I was gonna let you ask the next one.
Oh,
But
okay.
that's all right.
Wait, no, let me ask. Okay.
Apparently, it's obvious by now. I have done So this was a really fun episode because normally I don't get to do the notes. Like I
No,
don't
I
start
do.
them. Yeah, Casey does all of the note creation and then just kind of gives me this is your task list, like research this and
Yeah.
this.
See how frustrating it is when I'm just like,
Yeah, I get it.
what? I don't know what.
But then you like to send me like half of your notes, so I don't actually know what I'm not allowed to talk about. So this one, I have wholeheartedly taken ownership of these notes.
You know what? One episode we're just not gonna do notes at all.
That'll be a 4-hour episode.
Yeah.
Um,
We have to do notes, guys, or else we will talk all night.
yes, and I will forget anything that I wanted to say. So, what is your question that I created?
Okay, how much is too much story for a haunt versus another themed environment such as an aquarium, a museum exhibit, or IP heavy area?
What is an IP heavy area?
Intellectual property.
Mm-hmm.
So like E.T. or
Yeah. So I would imagine kind of the
Stranger Things.
Marvel Superhero Island at Universal, which they may have already turned that into something else because technically Marvel is Disney now.
Yeah, technically.
But yeah, it could be the Mummy, could be Transformers, just something that your guest is going to go into that area, most likely knowing the story, the majority of them, at least the basic of the story.
I think that a haunt should have a generic story. I don't think it should go super in depth with like.
So you want to know a character, but you don't necessarily want to
I don't care about their background.
be given the background, right?
Right. I really don't care. What
Okay.
I'm going to go into, I want to, whatever I can see,
Mm-hmm.
I want to know. Like, I don't need to know that this
So
lady.
you don't care why the mad scientist was mad. You just care that it's a mad scientist.
Right. I
Okay.
don't care why the axe slinging wife is murdering so many people. I could assume probably it's because of men.
Okay,
but,
so you want to leave
I don't.
that open to your own interpretation and imagination to fill in the background.
Yeah, sometimes I like to create the own story, and I really like when haunts. I sometimes like when haunts allow you to do that, but then I get mad when I'm like, wait, what's the ending though? And they're like, well, it's for you to decide, and I'm like, but no, I need you to tell me.
I don't like the endings being open.
Yeah.
But I like.
It's
I
like
can
a movie.
understand why you want the background to be up to interpretation.
Yeah.
But on the flip side of that, I really enjoy the background being solidified. Like the whole Jack the Clown and Dr. Oddfellow, like that, having that completely plotted out, I thought was awesome.
I mean, it's interesting to learn about, but I'm not like.
Do you think that should be reserved for a book or something
or
outside of the haunted attraction?
Yeah, I don't think, like, when we did ours, I don't think it should have been in depth.
You don't think it should have been multiple pages long?
No, nobody cares.
I get that. So, I think companies like Falcon Creative Group, Disney Imagineering, I think they do this really well because they develop character bibles, they develop super in-depth traits and backgrounds, but they don't necessarily always share them directly with the consumer.
Right.
So in aquarium, usually you'll make a few iconic characters. Even in like the Finding Nemo area, they use Crush, but they don't, in that area, even though it's IP based, they're not trying to give you the history of Crush. If I want to learn about the history of Crush, then I'm either going to try to find, a book about it or something that they have come out with, or if I'm really invested, like if there's enough people invested and want that information, they'll probably eventually come out with it.
Yeah, exactly.
Even if they have to create it, obviously.
Right.
So museum exhibits kind of the same way, even though they are telling the specifics of a story in a different way. So I think each environment has a time and a place to give that story. So aquariums, you're developing iconic characters to help push your story forward, but you're not giving the story of that character. Museum exhibits, you're focusing on the stories of the characters in the exhibits.
I have a question.
Yeah.
So when in an aquarium are there like
Are there like iconic characters?
Yeah.
In
Like,
Finding Nemo, they use Crush. When you get off the Finding Nemo ride in Epcot,
so when you say aquarium, you're not talking about a legit
we have not been to many aquariums, but
we've
when we
been
went to
several aquariums
when
actually.
we went to the one in Hawaii,
Yeah.
there was a specific like character.
Okay.
I don't remember if it was like a starfish or whatever, but it was like a I don't remember the name.
Okay, I get what you're saying.
But you're just like a. Do you remember Microsoft Word like way back in the day in Clippy?
Yeah.
So,
Clippy, yeah.
what did you know about Clippy other than he existed and he was your assistant? Nothing.
Well, no, he looked like a paperclip.
He looked like a paperclip.
paperclip.
But that's
Ooh.
sorry, that's a good example of this is your character to push along your story, but you don't need to know his backstory.
I gotcha. Okay.
So just almost a character that you can semi-relate with and you have as your personal guide through the storytelling experience. So this one we talked about, they don't have a specific theme or story kind of overarching the entire event for the house throughout the year, but GatlinburgHaunts.com did write something up that I assume they did not pull out of nowhere, so I want to read that out.
All right.
It's pretty long, so bear with me.
All right.
People know that when they go into the mansion that they are not alone. It is not just them and the actors. It is said that a family had died in the house back in 1903. It was a very tragic event that could not have gone worse. This family had gone insane. The family was paranoid and would eventually turn on each other. They would become so paranoid that they could not trust or even talk to the other. This is when they would slowly kill each other. Since this day, the house has been haunted, and the paranormal activity that is there cannot deny this fact either. It is also said that this mansion is home to a young girl. This girl is very young. She is only 7 years old. She is said to have fallen off the balcony of a nearby building. This child is known to sob very loudly. This girl is said to appear almost to the date of her death anniversary. It is said that when she appears, she will cry and point to the area in which she fell into the river. Even though she had fallen from a nearby building, it is said that she roams the area of the haunted, mysterious mansion. No one knows why she is here. However, it is believed that the building that she had fallen from is no longer there, and the mysterious mansion is close enough and is the right area from when she died. It is also said that there is a hooded figure. This is a phantom that will follow the actors that scare people. Not only are you getting scared by the actors, but the actors are also being followed by a real spirit. The phantom hooded figure has also been known to follow guests.
So this is the story of the mysterious mansion. This is their storyline.
According to GatlinburgHaunts.com, yes.
Interesting.
Yes.
That's not what I would have guessed.
No. I don't know where this story developed.
Okay.
From when we talked to Kenneth, it was just a turn-of-the-century house.
Yeah.
Kind of think your stereotypical haunted house.
Mm-hmm.
And that allows them to create essentially whatever they want in terms of characters on the inside.
Yeah. I just had a really cool idea.
Yeah?
Well, I'm not going to say it because what if we don't ever do it?
Do you need some time to write it down and I'll go to something else?
Yeah, let me
Okay.
do that.
Just for fun facts, this trip, so we've been on the road for like 3-4 days now, and this is not the first moment where we've had to stop in the middle of a conversation and go, hold on a second, I have an idea for a haunt. Let me write it down really quick. I think that is awesome that we have done this and that it has become kind of a typical thing. They talk about this in like songwriting communities as well, and this is not just a tangent to fill time, I promise.
I'm trying to write this
That's
down,
alright, you don't
and
have to listen. This is
okay. You're just talking to them. Okay.
So in songwriting, something that comes up is always having pen and paper or a notepad or just your notes app, because you never know when inspiration will come. And it could be a line of lyrics, it could be a melody, it could be almost anything. It could be something that you hear in a sermon or another song that kind of sparks something else to mash up ideas or concepts. So I've started doing that same kind of premise for haunted attractions and ideas and just individual scenes that I think would be really cool, so that when we develop new themes or new houses or concepts, we can pull from that and go, ooh, that would fit really well.
All right, I'm done.
You good? Cool.
I'll tell you after this.
Perfect. So that will lead us into first impressions, category 2. So
All right.
I gave this a 4 out of 5. What did you give it?
A 4 out of 5.
Perfect. So same page. So for me, the reason I gave first impressions a 4 is the outdoor walk-up was an incredible street view. It was not easy to find.
No.
We were just kind of using our phones to kind of map over to it. We had to go through this place called the Village in Gatlinburg, kind of a small
We didn't have to go
community
through
of
it,
shops.
but we did.
Well, technically, we went around it because I was not good at following the instructions.
No, you
So
weren't.
we went like this back alley where truck
We found
drivers
a
would go
cemetery,
through.
though.
We
That was
did.
cool.
Was that Flat Oaks?
Something like that.
I don't know. We took a picture of it, and it was a really cool, kind of quaint cemetery. So the walk up, once you were in eyesight of the mansion, you could hear the audio.
Yeah.
It looked incredible.
Yeah, I could actually like see if you're going at nighttime, you can actually see
Oh, yeah.
the lights from a far distance away.
Yeah.
And then
Their
that's where-
placement is so good.
Yeah, and that's how you know like it's there.
Yeah.
And they're right next to their bridge to go to the house
hmm
is over a river, and it's just so peaceful and
Oh,
just
yeah.
so beautiful.
Yeah.
It's just a perfect location, I feel.
Yeah, and they had visually open windows and compartments on the exterior, almost like a Hollywood Tower Hotel, Tower of Terror type of thing, where you could
Yeah.
kind of see up top, and it was open and
Yeah.
accessible. They had some really cool photo ops on the outside. They had, what,
Yeah.
4 different size coffins you could,
Yeah.
like, stand in, take your picture.
It was really cool.
My only downside to the first impressions was there wasn't a straightforward process to obtain tickets
Yeah.
or know where to go. So I would have given this a 5 had it not been for the ticketing part of it.
I agree. It was kind of confusing at first.
I didn't like knowing we were headed somewhere. I couldn't buy tickets online.
Yeah.
And there's multiple companies out there now that are doing ticketing specifically for haunts or pop-up events or things like that. I don't know what their reasoning is behind that. I don't know. Maybe they don't want to overbook or overstress themselves.
I think it depends on the timing too. I think
It's
during
possible, yeah.
the haunt season.
You think you can buy tickets
Oh,
online?
I'm pretty sure you can.
Okay.
That would kind of be weird if you couldn't, just because
I agree, but I mean, whatever they're doing is clearly they're doing it right.
yeah.
So,
I mean, for what for right now.
yeah,
but-
and again, we went in almost the exact opposite of a peak season.
Right. So they were probably just they were taking this time to just
They might
know.
be refreshing the site. Who knows?
who knows.
So the waiting area also kind of felt strange because of that. I didn't really know where we were supposed to go once we bought tickets.
Yeah.
And because of that, you had a lot of time just to kind of look at the decor and the merch. And in a way, we didn't know this until after, but you were at the center of the show in terms of like backstage.
Yeah.
So it was
which
really
is really
cool.
cool. Yeah.
I'm curious how they handle that when there's guests waiting in there.
Yeah.
So I don't know, but either way, there was a ton to look at
Yeah.
while
we
you were
did,
waiting, so it wasn't.
We did have to
bad.
wait a little bit to go in.
Yeah, we waited probably
checked-
what 15 minutes max.
Yeah, I think they were waiting for more people to come in, but
Oh, yeah.
after we had gone and we were talking, they let 2 people go by themselves. So
Yeah.
I kind of wish that we had just waited, or
We've been
they
able
had
to go
like
by ourselves.
yeah, it's raining.
Perfect.
You can
That's fine.
probably hear it. But yeah, I was kind of like, I wish we didn't have to wait so long. I wish we were able to go
Just the 2 of us.
just the 2 of us, but
Yeah.
that's all right. The other couple that we went was pretty cool. So
Yeah, we started in the first room with them, and I asked him, are you guys a fan of haunted attractions? Nope.
yeah,
Okay.
But they were really fun to be around.
We started off going first, and then
Yeah, they were.
at some point, pretty quickly, they shimmied up ahead,
Yeah.
and they were finding all
Probably
the exits.
because they were trying to get out really fast.
Right, as quick as they could. And I'm trying to slow down.
Right, we were trying to slow down and like just take in the scene.
I want to look at the sets. I want to interact with the actors, see if they'll budge in terms of breaking character.
Yeah. Sometimes we don't like, when we go into haunted houses, we don't like experience it. We just like...
Right, because as an actor, you scare people that seem like they're going to get scared.
Yeah.
I
actually got scared in this, though.
Yes, yeah.
I normally don't, and that says a lot.
Yeah.
So...
And when we were waiting in the waiting room, did you hear the people yelling, "I want out, I want out"?
No.
Okay, so I did. It was right after we had purchased tickets, and I knew people were going out because I had seen an actor kind of come out of one of the interior, like, balconies.
Mm-hmm.
And I heard this, like, loud scream, and this, "I want out, I want out, I want out."
That's
and
awesome.
then they never came out. Because at that point, we didn't know what the exit was, where the exits were.
That's true.
So they just kind of disappeared. And I thought that was a really cool touch.
Oh, gosh. That's so funny.
So that shifts us into the third category, and that is acting. What did you give acting?
I gave it a 5 out of 5. I think the people that work there are insanely good at what they do, and you can tell that they actually love what they do.
Yes.
And there was only how many? 4? 3?
5. 4 or 5.
Okay, so it seemed like more because
yes.
they were jumping in and out of rooms, and they're so good at it because they know that, the house like the back of their hand, I'm sure.
Yeah.
And so they were just, it was kind of creepy to like see them in one room and then you like walk and then they're like right there.
I thought we were going around in circles.
Yeah,
which
I did too.
One time
We did.
And I can't wrap my head around it.
I think they wanted to trick you too. They wanted to be like,
think?
Go through this one.
They were some of the most sarcastic actors.
Yeah.
And it was awesome in the best way possible.
Yeah, it was really fun. We enjoyed interacting with them a lot.
Yes, so I also gave acting 5 out of 5. There's nothing that I would have wanted to see differently.
Mm-mm.
They were extremely acrobatic.
Yes.
Just like you said, jumping in and out of scene, disappearing rapidly, like
contorting their bodies.
They were flipping from like the ceiling, reaching down. I don't know how they had the energy to do this.
Probably
I don't know how they
drinks.
had the energy to do this every night.
They're probably young too. Also, they do stay in character, so they're trying to,
yes.
They want to stay in character as much as possible.
Yeah.
We did have them break a little because we had asking them about their...
We had only one broke character, and I'm really glad he did because we were asking him about the mask. I didn't expect him to break character, so I was super thankful that he did because I really wanted to feel the mask and hold it and touch it once we found out that it was DIY. Like
so good.
That was cool.
Very talented.
But you're right, not all actors broke character.
No, and I loved that.
So I don't want to single out the one that did break character because I don't want them to be an easy target.
No, he kind of had to.
He did. We forced it.
We kind of forced it on him. Sorry. But yeah.
So yeah, and they were even interacting with us before we even went into the experience. The little girl passed us, and just like, she was creepy.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we'll talk about her more later because she was your favorite character, right? Yep. All right, what are we going to next? What's the fourth category?
Lighting is our fourth category. So I gave the lighting a 4 out of 5. I thought it was pretty... I liked that there was, like, minimal lighting. I really like a haunted house where it actually feels like... I can't... With all of the strobe lights and, like, and they did have some strobes, but it wasn't, like... a lot, and because I can't do a lot of that strobe light stuff.
I think strobe is really effective in minimal doses when it suits the scare. If you're going through a haunted house, if you watch the movies or you've been in one, strobe lights are not there. They have low lighting or they have flickering lighting. They don't have consistently repeated strobe.
I don't like a lot of... That's why when we were doing our haunt,
we had 2 areas of strobe,
Yeah.
And the purpose behind that was, in both of those scenes, one of them was you had a doll standing there in the fog with the strobe light behind them.
Yeah.
So the purpose in my head was to make it look like the doll might be moving as you're walking past the
Right.
strobe, because you're going to
Yeah.
see different shadows.
And and that could work in some circumstances, but there are some haunts that we've been in, and
They
it's just like
use
complete
it.
strobe, and I'm like, I can't do this.
Right. Unless it fits, it doesn't make any sense.
Right. So I really did like the fact that it was very dark in some areas, just so that you can, I mean, it is kind of a safety hazard when you don't know exactly where you're going, but I think that if they tell you to, like, put your arms out and, like, you know.
Yeah, and they full advising, like,
yeah.
There's a lot of haunts that will tell you, don't touch the characters, don't touch the sets.
Right, but this you had to kind of feel, it's kind of like you were blind, honestly.
Right, it was still don't touch the characters,
right.
But, like, you need to feel your way through this.
Yeah, you're trying to escape.
Right.
You know, and I really like that effect.
Yeah, I thought that was great.
So, yeah.
The only reason I gave it a 4 instead of a 5 was because they had a stereotypical swamp laser scene.
Yeah, I don't like those.
I get it. I love them. But, again,
I'm too short for them.
I want them to be in theme.
Yeah, you can't put a swamp
just
in
because.
a house.
It's one of the most overly used effects, just like strobe. So while I appreciate it, and it is very effective.
It is, yeah.
If it's not within the theme,
I wouldn't use it, yeah.
I don't know. And maybe I just didn't see how this one did play into the scene.
But honestly, most people that go into these haunted houses,
they don't care.
They don't care about the theming.
No,
They're just going to...
I think we're a little more nitpicky on things like this.
And that's fine. Like, if I understand why they have it.
Yeah.
But yeah, it doesn't really match the theme. However, more people than
not are going to enjoy that more than anything else.
So
yeah,
why not
I get
keep
it. To me, that was the big thing. I agree. Not a lot of strobe. We talked about that. Really nice change to see that. In general, none of the lighting stood out in a negative way. Everything seemed just bright enough to aid the experience, but just dark enough to make you a little hesitant to move forward. And that's a tricky balance, because you naturally want to go towards bright lights.
Yeah.
So that can increase your throughput. That can make people move a little faster throughout your queue or your line. But you also, if everything's lit up, then you're losing a lot of those intimate moments where you can whisper, or you can trick them into this direction, or you can surprise them with something that you don't see it until it's right up in your face. So
I do like the effect of it being super dark in a room, and then there's stuff in your face.
Yes.
That is completely blacked out dark, but when you open it, it's fully bright.
Yes.
I think that's a really, because that's like, it's, you know, it heightens
like
your
baby
senses.
being born.
And yeah. Yeah, totally.
Push away the curtains.
Yes. I really like that effect, and I think they did have something like that.
They had a lot of Sif. I didn't bring that up until...
I don't hate it.
Oh, maybe I didn't.
But there are certain things that I don't really like in my face.
I don't like pushing through body bags. I think that's another one that's just
that.
obvious. I don't think they had that in this one.
No, they didn't, did they?
What you did walk through was heavy coats.
That and pipe.
That and, drainage pipe. I completely forgot about that.
Yeah.
That was really good, because the whole time I'm like sitting there like rubbing it to try to figure out what it is they use, because I'm thinking, oh, it's PVC. And I'm like, no, PVC is too heavy.
Yeah.
So I felt it, and it was like 4-inch diameter, like drainage
plumbing.
hose for septic tanks. Yeah. So that moves really well into our 5th category out of 10, effects. So this is not lighting, not audio. It could be pneumatic. It could be animatronics. It could be anything mechanical. What did you give effects?
So I gave the effects a 3 out of 5.
Ugh.
I did find that, you know, I'm not a huge fan of pneumatics.
No, if anything ticks you off, it's that.
Yes. I cannot stand the puff of air.
Is it
or
because it
blowhorn.
annoys you or it scares you?
It just, it does scare me, and which I like to be scared,
Mm-hmm.
but it's just overused because
Yeah.
I know why people use it. It scares you,
Yeah.
but it also, like, I don't know, it really just makes me mad. I don't know what it is.
I get it.
But yeah.
So I gave the effects 4 out of 5, a little higher than you. I love the pneumatic effects. I agree it is annoying when heavily used,
Yeah.
but I don't think they overutilized this. I think they had, the only one I really remember was maybe twice it was used, if that. The only one I specifically remember was right at the end. Like, you figure out it's the final door, you feel like you've escaped, and then right at the last second, boom, big puff of air.
Yeah. Don't like that.
I thought that was
whatever.
a great final scare, especially for you.
Yeah.
There were a lot of floor variations as well.
I did.
We've utilized them at our home.
I love floor variations.
Yes.
I think they're very.
And floor variations could be the like a squishy floor, almost like a kitchen mat. It could be like mattress foam.
Yeah.
It could be like the squishy,
like a rickety
planking.
Bridge, or
rickety bridge.
Another thing that I like in haunts a lot that not a lot of people use anymore, and they didn't use it in this, but are like tunnels that you have to.
Oh, the claustrophobia tunnels?
The claustrophobia tunnels. I used to not like them, but I like them
love
now.
them.
Or something you have to like crawl into.
Yeah.
And I think those are really cool.
On that token, this haunt is not a disability-friendly haunt, I would not say.
No.
So places like 13th Floor have done a really good job of trying to maintain that whenever there are slanted floors or things that you can't easily maneuver. If you are disabled, they have alternate walkthroughs. This one,
you can't really, because
by sheer
it's
development, you can't pull it off.
No, because it's too. I mean,
it's 3 stories.
It's 3 stories, so it's
a lot of stairs, a lot of moving parts. There's no elevator.
No.
So it's, if you're looking for a disabled friendly haunt, I would not recommend this one. But that's okay. There are others for you.
Right.
Another thing I really liked was the wobbly platform in the reach-through scenes, where you didn't really come into full contact with the character, but it was just kind of reaching through a wall through a small cavity.
Yeah.
Again, neither one was overly utilized. Nothing was really repeated to the point of annoyance. Everything was kind of a one-off or two-off type of thing, and I really appreciated that because it really kept you guessing on what was going on.
Yeah, I agree.
So,
what was next?
Audio. Another one of my favorite things. I gave the audio of this a 3 out of 5.
How did I give it a 4 out of 5 and you got it a 3 out of 5?
I think I'm pickier.
I guess so.
I like to hear custom audio. I like it. Like, if we go into a haunt and somebody goes, oh no, I actually recorded and I wrote that. Like, that, 5 stars.
But they had a lot of that recording, they said.
They kind of.
Well,
so writing the music versus taking the music.
That's true.
Is different. And recording effects and audio for the effects.
That's different.
Right. I would say it's a little different. It kind of spans between audio and effects.
Okay, I get what you're saying now. Like, for our haunt,
I made, I think,
music.
10 different tracks.
Yeah.
Some were theme music. I wrote a slow version, kind of a standard theme version, and then a heavy metal version.
Yeah.
The heavy metal version was in our kind of devil witch scene.
Yeah.
So it felt, and it was also kind of the final climax of the walkthrough. So I felt like it fit that scene really well.
Yeah.
It was, you went from a really lighthearted kind of nursery scene right outside to a cauldron, like torches, a very dark feeling scene. So the music reflected that.
Yeah. I did like the music in this one, but I mean, I don't really care where it's coming from. You do.
Yeah.
So
this one was kind of a mashup of 2 different things. There were certain scenes that used Nox Arcana, which is a really popular haunt audio developer. We actually listened to, I think, Carnival of Lost Souls on our drive. It was something that's, to me, is super peaceful. I love Nox Arcana. I think the way they theme their audio and can kind of designate a whole album to a very specific concept and almost create songs or playlists for different areas all within a single haunt, I think is tremendous.
Yeah.
They do an incredible job. So the other audio that was used, according to Kenneth, was audio taken from a black and white vampire film. He couldn't remember the name, and honestly, there's a ton of black and white vampire films. Could have been Nosferatu, could have been Bram Stoker's Dracula, could have been all sorts of stuff.
Did you hear that?
No.
Okay. It sounded like something growling. I don't know.
Could have been a bear. I don't know.
Oh God.
We are in the middle of the woods.
We are in the middle
on the border
of
of
nowhere.
Kentucky. So overall, I didn't not enjoy the audio. I thought it was really well done. I felt like it maintained continuity for the entire experience. To me, it was just kind of the standard. I don't think it went above and beyond to the point of customized music or anything like that.
I get that.
I think that growling might have been my stomach, because I just heard what you heard and I also felt it. So I'm like 90% sure it's not a bear, it's just my own stomach.
Oh my God.
Oh boy.
That's
All right.
funny.
So, moving right out of audio in my stomach, we're going to move over to set design. I
Yeah.
gave set design a 5 out of 5.
Yes,
I could not have asked for better.
such a good job. As soon as I walked in,
As soon as
well,
you walked
actually,
up,
I walked up to
from the moment they
house.
were in view,
I was like, oh my gosh, this
why
house.
are your eyes closed as if you're praying and talking at the same time?
Because
You okay?
I'm envisioning it.
Oh, I didn't realize you were like putting yourself in the moment.
I
looked over
am.
and I thought you had almost fallen asleep, but you were still talking. Woo, that was a scary moment.
No, I'm envisioning myself in front of the mansion.
All right, carry on. Sorry.
And looking at it, so just don't look at me.
Okay.
Anyways, so, from the time that I walked up and saw, like, how tall it was and how, like, I loved the bridge and then the coffins out front and the staircases up. It was just really pretty.
Yeah.
Open your eyes.
I was on the journey with you.
Stop making fun of me. Anyways, and then walking inside, and it's like tall ceilings and chandelier.
It felt
and
like Haunted Mansion,
It
like
did.
the main stretching room.
Yes, and I loved it.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I knew instantly. I was like, oh yeah, this is definitely gonna be cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I guess we both rated it 5.
Mhm.
One of my favorite things that really put this above everything else, that we've seen set design wise, was it wasn't just the theming or the set design elements. It was the mechanical. I got to interact with it.
Yeah.
Because what's one thing I do in every single haunted house, every single
Touch.
walkthrough, I love to touch the sets.
Yep.
I'm good at not touching the characters, but the sets, I want to touch them. I like that tactile response of
Yes.
figuring out, what is this made out of? How could I do this? How did they get this texture? Is it textured, or is
Yeah.
it just a photo?
Right.
So for this one, the very first scene after they played the audio recording,
Mhm.
they said, touch the mantle, everybody put your arm on the mantle,
Yeah.
and then push.
Yeah. That
I
was really cool.
loved it. It was the initial teaching you how to find doors, how they opened, how they're found.
Yep.
I love that it was a touch and feel attraction. And then even further past that, it was an escape room
Yes.
added on top of that.
Which I love that because
Yes.
I mean, I'm a huge fan of escape rooms, obviously, and I just like being I like being interactive within,
And immersed.
immersed
Yeah.
into it. Yeah, I want to be able to like interact with the actors, and then also sometimes I do like to just walk through. It depends.
Yeah.
It really depends on my mood, but more times than not, I do like to be interactive. So
Yeah.
I really
And
enjoyed that.
Something, I don't know that that's for everybody. So I think
No.
a lot of people avoid touching walls because you don't want to accidentally touch an actor. I think
Yeah.
I've had that happen maybe twice, and it was when I was a lot younger, one of the first few haunted houses I went through, and it was a blacked out room, and you were supposed to kind of feel your way around it,
Mm-hmm.
and in this room, it was blacked out except for a bunch of like glow-in-the-dark dots, like
Mhm.
pink and yellow and orange and stuff like that, and one of the characters had on a full black suit with dots on them as well.
Oh,
So
wow.
in the that walkthrough, all you saw was these dots, or were these dots moving?
Mm-hmm.
And then all of a sudden, one would be still.
And you're touching
So
somebody's
before
junk.
before you go through it, like you're
Yeah.
rubbing against your chest, going, "Ooh, I don't like that. That's a
Whoa.
change in.
That's a person.
I don't like that at all." Yeah.
That's a boob.
Right. So, and also haunts typically tell you don't touch the props,
Yeah.
don't touch the sets, because you want to maintain the integrity. You don't want things to degrade faster.
Right.
A lot of time, all that oil on your skin can ruin props.
Yeah.
It can ruin
But
the
in
paint,
this
touch-ups.
instance, they are
Heavily repairing.
right, but it's just typically walls and doors that they're repairing.
Walls, doors, bookcases.
Oh yeah, the bookcase.
Like you can touch everything. Nothing was really
That's
off
true.
limits.
That's true. So yeah, you have to be if you're doing something like that, you have to be prepared with people are going to break stuff probably.
Yeah, you have to have that
things will
built
fall
into
over.
your budget of weekly repairs, weekly touch-ups at the very least.
Yeah. I mean, it's like escape rooms. Like, you're going to touch everything.
Yeah.
Unless they put a sign on it that says, this is not a part of the game, don't touch this.
Right, but if they were to have that in this haunted attraction, or really any haunted attraction, you're immediately outside of the story.
Right, that.
Or you don't take it seriously because you feel like it's still part of the story. So it's a loaded
like a big
gun
red
either
button.
way.
Do not press the big red button.
Right. And
nope,
then,
I'm going to press the big red button.
Right.
What does it do?
Exactly. Don't tell me I can't do something now that I'm part of your story.
Right.
So yeah, set design, 5 out of 5 all around. Customer service, also 5 out of 5 all around.
Yeah, they were extremely nice.
Yeah, no rudeness. A lot of the other reviews that I looked through to try to kind of cherry pick reviews out, a lot of them said that the guest staff or the customer service was rude, whether it be in ticketing or merchandise or whatever.
It could be that, they might be stressed or whatever.
Right, you have no idea what's going on in somebody's life.
Right.
Everybody has a job, everybody's working.
Yeah.
Just because they work in a haunt doesn't mean they don't feel like they're working.
Mm-hmm. And they looked like they were like constantly like they really care about their staff, I think, and maintaining safety. And if it seems like they're kind of like out of it or whatever, they're probably just making sure everything is running as smoothly as possible. And because if not, then it's on their butts.
Yeah.
And
for sure.
But they were extremely nice. They were obviously they didn't have to answer our questions.
No, they didn't even have to tell us a single word. They could have been like, you're done with the experience, you can leave now, we have a line.
Yeah, exactly. So I mean, I thought they were pretty cool.
No issues with ticketing, super quick. We were able to find the general manager, had a full conversation. We got to purchase merchandise. I don't feel like we waited that long. We got to have a huge in-depth conversation.
Yeah.
He answered all of our questions, way more information than I ever would have expected a haunt owner or manager to give us. I feel like it was a really candid conversation. I don't feel like he was making anything up.
No.
We had a million questions for him, and I can't think of any of them that he wasn't capable of answering. I was extremely impressed with his knowledge of the haunt, the history, just everything all the way around.
Yeah.
I'm really hoping we run into him at TransWorld.
Well, there's going to be a ton of people there, so I doubt it, but maybe.
True.
You never know. The stars may align.
Merchandise, our 9th next to last category.
Okay. I gave it a 5 out of 5 just because, there's really not much else they could sell. They had hoodies, shirts, mugs, magnets, stickers, onesie for a baby, contact lenses, and more. So, yes, it could have been, like, better quality, but, you don't really need...
I thought the quality was fine. The only thing we got was a shirt and a magnet.
Yeah, because I don't like...
I freaking love shirts. Like,
unfortunately.
A black shirt with a cool logo, I'm in.
He has so many, and it just irritates me, and I don't wear them often, so I stopped getting shirts, and
I just can't control it.
It's alright.
I'm really nervous about TransWorld. I'm really hoping nobody has shirts for sale. I don't want Halloween Shirt Company to be there, because I've already gotten one this year.
I know. I like magnets, just because you can never go wrong with magnets.
Yeah, you're just super attracted to them.
Yeah, I am. I'm attracted to magnets. Magnetic energy.
So I gave the merchandise 3 out of 5. And I know you don't agree, so I'll give them my pros and cons of this.
Okay.
I thought it was cool that they had contact lenses for sale.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what the cost was. I didn't pay that much attention. They
like
weren't
30.
very expensive, yeah. I thought they only had 2 shirts available.
That's true.
I like a big supply to choose from. We didn't go. The only other shirt they had that was there was kind of a seasonal event shirt.
Mm-hmm.
I liked it, but I feel like because we didn't go to that event, I don't feel like I wanted that shirt because I didn't experience it. What am I going to say?
Right.
This event was really cool. No, I didn't experience it. I don't know. I just
Right.
want their typical shirt.
Oh, I'm sorry. That was
That's
my
all
ring.
So I just wanted more shirt options. I also thought it would be cool if they had patches. I know that's
that is
a
true.
premium kind of upgrade to just a sticker.
It is. I do
But-
collect patches also.
Yeah.
I put them on my jean jacket.
You know what I want haunts to have available for merchandise? Snow globes.
That's a good.
Right. We have yet to be at a single haunt that has a snow globe, and I get it. Snow globes probably not cheap at all.
No, they're not.
I have not even considered how much it would cost to produce them
No.
because you want them to be probably customized.
You also want to think about things that people actively use so that you can have your name
So
on
not
it.
snow globes.
Exactly. So like a cup, great. A pen.
Ooh, yeah.
I mean, stickers are stickers. Everybody has stickers, but
Yeah.
you know things.
Tattoos.
Yeah.
I would buy a
So-
tattoo for a haunt. That would be cool.
Like a temporary tattoo?
Nah.
Oh my god. No, you would not. Anyways.
That would be a human billboard.
Oh my gosh. So, you know, you want to have things that people will use so that
Yeah.
you can see their name on it.
Included advertising.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if you have too much on your like merchandise list, I just think
Overwhelming.
it's overwhelming, and you know, just stick to the necessities.
Yeah. So I wanted more. You thought it was a good amount.
Yeah.
So that will lead us into our final thoughts of the review portion. This is not the end of the episode. We
Oh
still
my
have it
goodness.
behind the scare. But final thoughts, I gave it a 4 out of 5 overall. You gave it a 5 out of 5?
I did.
Tell us more about that.
Yeah. So I really thought that, I mean, I walked into it, and afterwards I was like, yes, this is exactly the type of haunt that I want to run.
Yes.
And so, because I love the escape part of it, and then also the haunted part of it.
Mhm.
And the set design is, I love big mansions and creepy hallways and creepy, you're closing your eyes.
Yeah, because you were closing your eyes, so I figured I'd go there with you.
Oh my gosh. Staircases, ricketing, you know, scary, you know, creepy noises, stuff like that. So
Yeah.
I loved that. So that's why I gave it a 5 out of 5. To me, it was just a really great experience. I got scared. I normally do not get scared. I had a really good time. It was fun. I
Mhm.
normally don't have, like, going into 13th floor, I'm like, that was alright.
Yeah. We expect much higher.
Yeah.
And it's probably just because we like to think the 13th floor operates with an unlimited budget, just like Halloween Horror Nights, at least
Yeah.
unlimited in our comprehension of it.
Yeah, so.
Whereas this one, it felt like it met those same quality benchmarks,
Mm-hmm.
but at a fraction of
Mhm.
what they probably paid because they're not franchised.
Right.
They're not.
I also love the fact that they're open year round. And
Yes.
that is very rare,
Very difficult to accomplish.
very difficult
and
to accomplish.
stay profitable.
And they do. And so
Yeah.
I really appreciate that, and that's why I gave it a 5 out of 5.
Yeah, so final results, we took the average of all of our individual scores for the 10 categories,
Mhm.
and mine came in at 4 out of 5 even.
Okay.
Yours came in at 4.4 out of 5, so not too much higher out of the realm.
Yeah.
So pretty top-notch attraction overall.
Yeah, for sure.
What was your favorite? We're going to talk about kind of 3 different things in this final thoughts wrap-up.
Mm-hmm.
We'll talk about our favorite actor, our favorite moment or scene, and then what would we have changed, or what would have been really cool for us to have seen if we were to go back, what would be cool for them to have added or changed?
Okay.
So what was your favorite actor or encounter with an actor?
So the girl was my favorite actor. I don't know what her name was or what I guess she was the little girl, the 7-year-old or whatever. I don't know.
She might have been, yeah.
Yeah, but she's a really great actress.
She had an attitude, it seemed like.
Yeah, she's extremely quick. She ran really fast, and she also contorted and crawled on the floor and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So yeah, overall it was she creeped me out, and I liked that. So
yeah, she had the whiteout contacts.
Yeah.
She almost reminded me of Megan or Mithrigan, I've heard some podcast call her.
Yes.
Mixed with Samara.
Yes.
So it was a really cool mashup of those. And I agree, I don't like creepy little girls.
Right.
I hope when we have a kid, she's a creepy little girl.
Yeah, me too.
Just to ward off any of the boys that would try to hit on her.
Yeah.
I want her to be oh, that girl over there, she's scary.
Yeah, and I'm gonna try to get her to wear a bunch of creepy clothing.
I hope she just kind of comes into our preferred lifestyle.
And if she doesn't, that's fine.
Yeah, that's right.
Whatever.
If she's the most
girly girl,
happy butterfly daisies, great. You do you, girl.
Yeah.
That's cool. So my favorite was the clown. So I don't know what.
Wasn't there two?
There was a clown that was the stereotypical, and then there was more a jester character.
Oh, right. Okay.
So I like specifically the clown, and the reason is, out of all of the characters that we got to directly interact with,
yeah,
this one stayed in character.
Yeah.
He talked, he had a voice within his character.
Yeah.
So when we were talking to the general manager, we asked for, we gave him one of our business cards for the home haunt and the podcast kind of together on there with the QR code. And then we asked for his business card so that we could reach out, talk to him a little more, stay in touch, send him the podcast episode once it's released. And he didn't have any of his business cards on him or in the office, so he asked the clown character, hey, can you go to my office, can you get this? No voice, just went off and did it. Ran up the stairs, did some parkour to get there. Came back super quick and gave us a business card. Mask still on, super in character. Gave one business card. He had a whole stack in his hand. Gave one business card to the GM. GM said, okay. He kept handing him single cards and then would give it to him and then pull it back really quick.
Yeah, so he was being funny.
Phenomenal.
Yeah.
So after that, I asked, is your mask, is it really heavy? Because we had already talked to the other actor. And I said, is your mask really heavy? Is it hot?
Yeah.
And he just looked at me and kind of kept cocking his head. And I said, is your mask hot? I thought he couldn't hear us.
Yeah.
And then he shrieked or something, or some really high-pitched voice, this isn't a mask!
Yeah.
This is my face! And I thought that was absolutely hilarious.
Yeah.
So creepy looking mask. It was a modified clown mask. I don't remember where they got it. I know he told us, but they had modified it, and the whole character was great. It was either chaos or mayhem.
Yeah.
Because we know that because the general manager Kenneth, whenever he does act in the haunt, whenever it's necessary, he plays kind of the counterpart or the partner of that.
Yeah.
So together, the clowns are chaos and mayhem.
Yeah.
So I don't know which one this one was, but it was great.
Yeah, really good job.
Yeah. So favorite moment or scene? We actually had the exact same one.
I see that. No.
Both of our favorite parts were when the clown we were passing this hallway, and when we're in the main kind of waiting area, you see all these staircases and platforms coming into the center of the room, overhanging it. Very clear that none of these have any way of escaping out of them.
Right.
Irrelevant. Once you're in the haunt, all of your common knowledge goes out the window.
Yeah.
You are part of the story, and you are dumb as a box of rocks in comparison to how you escape. So, in this one, because it happened to you and I did not get to have the same experience.
Yeah.
Let's hear your.
So, I was walking and I saw a little ledge or whatever, and there was a sign. I don't remember what the sign said, but you know, the clown was like taunting me. He was like motioning to come forward, and I was like, okay, what's the worst that could happen?
I thought he was trying to help us.
Yeah, I don't know. So I walked on the platform, and it's a drop panel, so then it makes you think, you know, you're gonna fall, obviously. So I thought that was a really good effect.
Yeah.
Probably the only pneumatic effect that I liked.
I don't think it was pneumatic. I think the platform was on a hinge with kind of a chain so that you can't go past a certain point, and when you step on it, it just hinged away from the wall, so it made you feel like the whole thing dropped.
I know, but I still feel like that's kind of pneumatic because, I mean, it's not normal. But
it's mechanical, but...
Mechanical, whatever.
Pneumatic is air, and I think this was sheer gravity and hinges and stuff.
You're right. Pneumatic is air. Yeah. I'm getting that confused.
That's okay.
So, yeah,
I thought
I really enjoyed that.
It was so much fun to watch you go on it.
Yeah.
Because that was a loud shriek.
Yeah, that was scary.
I thought the clown was hilarious. I tried to go onto the platform, and he jumped across that whole middle section, a good 3-4 feet.
Yeah, they're
no safety harnesses.
No, they're very
stunts are ridiculous.
Yeah, they're good at what they do, and I hope that they practice that a lot.
I'm sure you've got to.
I hope they don't ever get hurt.
Yeah.
But I know that they're good at what they do, so
yeah.
I'm sure they're being trusted and being looked after by their staff.
So what would be something they could have changed, or what do you think would have been really cool to see if we were to go back or going through it again?
I think that obviously more actors, but I get it that they only had, they had a good amount for the time that we went.
They had 4 or 5, and we're completely non-peak season.
That's true. Which what he said that they're mostly full-time, right? So.
Well, all 5 of those actors are full-time throughout the year. Like, they have committed paychecks.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
That's like really rare, and
yes.
So that's really cool. I wish we would have been able to just go in with just us. The other couple had already figured out the exits by the time that we caught up with them, so it was like I kind of wanted to figure it out ourselves instead of somebody else figuring it out for us.
I feel like we let them take charge more than we should have.
Yeah.
But it's okay.
Yeah, so, you know.
I'm glad that I got to be the back of the group most of the house, and I thought that was really cool because almost, I would say at least 50 to 75% of the time, I could look back and there was an actor staying still or following us actively.
Yeah.
Like,
well, they also want to make sure that you're actually getting out of the house. They don't want to, like...
True. True.
They don't want you to just be lost.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's, you know, other than that, I don't think I would have changed much. I would have to go through it a second or third time to kind of...
I would have loved to have gone through it again.
Yeah, to kind of see exactly what I would change, but no, I loved it overall.
I would love to go back and try to see a behind the scenes of it.
Yeah.
I mean, they're always operational, so I know it'd be difficult to do, but if we're able to go back, I would love to reach out to Kenneth and be like, hey, what are the options of this? We just want to see. Like, no pictures, I get it, no problem. I just want to see.
Yeah. So what would you have changed?
I don't have a lot, but I have one specific thing that I thought would have been really cool, and I think I even mentioned it as we were walking up.
Okay.
So, walking up, you could hear the audio really, really well. It was a good volume. But because the backdrop behind the actual mansion is a steep kind of hillside with kind of a forest behind it, I thought it would have been the perfect opportunity to do a lightning effect.
Yeah.
We have put it into both ears of us. We've put it behind the gravestones. We've also put it in an actual themed room where it fit for kind of a weather witch.
Yeah.
So I don't know how many controllers they would need, because I know they typically only power a few, usually like 500 watts of lighting at a time.
Yeah.
And LEDs aren't typically the best for that. So I don't know what the cost would have been to be able to do it well, but I think it would have been really cool to add a thunder and lightning track for audio and lighting towards the backdrop.
Yeah.
So that it's kind of that stereotypical, like, Transylvania house.
That would be kind of cool, yeah.
But, I mean, that's just a cherry on top compared to everything else.
What if it's snowing, though? You
I
can't
don't
have
know.
a thunderstorm and snow at the same time.
Why not?
I don't think that's like.
You can't have clouds and thunder and snow?
You can't. Have you ever been in a snowstorm where it's thundering
I've
and
never been in
lightning?
a snowstorm.
That's true.
We grew up in Florida. We have no idea how that weather works.
Okay, go on.
I agree with, I wish it would have been just the two of us, but I completely understand
Yeah.
the kind of grouping. I also would have loved to have purchased tickets online,
Oh, yeah, that's a good point.
but I get it. There could be numerous reasons why that's not the case right now,
Mm-hmm.
so it doesn't really bother me that much.
Yeah.
It didn't make or break our experience in the slightest.
Mm-mm.
So, we finally made it. An hour and 50 in, and we are at Behind the Scare. This
Okay.
isn't something we're going to be able to do on all of the attractions we review, but this one we have several really cool information bits
Okay.
that we learned from Kenneth and through
All
our research. So,
and
you mentioned it.
he's okay with us sharing this, I assume.
I hope so. I don't think any of it is really proprietary.
No, not really.
And none of it will make or break your experience. We're not
No.
giving any spoilers.
No, we don't want to give any spoilers.
We're not going to be like, go through a guide of, in the first room, take the
No.
first left, and it's behind the wardrobe.
Listen, I don't even remember.
I don't either.
No. And they probably change it
Probably.
quite often.
So this is more just kind of logistical, general fun facts and knowledge. Just like we did for the Halloween Horror Nights episodes, kind of doing a behind the scenes type thing.
All right.
So you already mentioned they typically only have 5 actors. They're full-time during the non-peak season.
Yeah.
In peak season, we learned that typically the max head count that they have, and this is for ticketing, customer service, acting, queue line, like support, things like that. Only
Yeah.
25 people.
Yeah.
I was kind of shocked. That seems like a really small
And they're
cast.
hiring right now.
They are hiring for ticketing sales.
Yeah. So, if I
that would
were
be great.
living in Gatlinburg,
100%.
I would definitely apply there.
Yeah, you have late nights, but not early mornings, so
Right,
kind of
that's
win-win.
Yeah.
And in the peak seasons, what they change is they have an actor in every scene, so that every scene gets its own kind of creation in terms of characters. And then that allows the full-time actors to almost become like character leads or actor leads
Yeah.
to help maintain the effectiveness of all the seasonal crew, and they still maintain doing the more acrobatic stunts. They don't necessarily let a seasonal actor come in and jump ledge to ledge like they
Right.
do.
No,
So I think it's cool that they maintain that safety aspect
Right.
of at the beginning. You want to alternate on these?
Sure. They have one high-end silicone mask for special blood drive event. I guess it was like their vampire.
Yeah, kind of their blood sucking.
Yeah, which I thought was really cute.
Mhm.
All other masks were either completely DIY or modified purchase masks. So
Yeah, we got to hold their completely DIY one. They used what, like masking tape,
yeah, really good
latex,
job.
glue,
Toilet paper.
toilet paper. It was really, really well done, even up close and personal with it.
It made me think, oh, I can do that. I can
Right.
do that.
Yeah, we're
Yeah.
not. Nobody is really that far away from being able to create something like this.
No.
Like you just have to have the passion to pursue it, and
Patience.
the sky's the limit. You have the patience. Oof.
Yeah.
So because they're a year-round haunt, they do have a little more or a little higher budget for weekly repairs for prop controllers, animatronics, for set dressing touch-ups. Again, we talked about they're a very high-touch haunt.
Yeah.
So that just
But
comes
I
with...
mean, it goes hand in hand because
Yeah.
once you're making money and you're spending money, so it's
Right.
like,
Yeah.
it's kind of good that they are able to actually do that.
Yeah, they don't let the method of business just wear out their haunt. They're
Right.
constantly maintaining it, which is I really appreciate.
Even in the winding guest paths, they still incorporate cast-only areas for traveling between scenes, like most haunted houses do. A rule or guide in the initial introduction teaching you how to find your next doorway out explicitly states to push on a doorway. All cast-only areas are accessible as pull to open doorways, so these pathways could lead between floors via open shafts or between rooms, so they could be dangerous to guests without knowing where they lead. So I thought that was very smart.
Yeah, I couldn't have said that better if I tried.
Yeah, because you wrote it.
and you read it verbatim.
Exactly. How else was I supposed to?
I don't know. Put your fun spin on it. Make it sound like you wrote it.
Bruh. You made me do this podcast in a car.
I made you do this podcast in the car. I wanted to record this podcast at the Reed House.
Yeah, well.
And we were out too late and we're exhausted.
Yeah.
And I didn't finish my notes on time.
That's true. And this is 2 hours long, so
and this is
you
2
need to
hours
apologize to the people listening to this.
You know what? I hope you're still with us.
Are you still with us?
We already talked about Kenneth being an actor when he is necessary. He completes the clown duo of Chaos and Mayhem.
Yeah, which I think is really cool to interact and actually get to.
Yeah, I appreciated us
act.
actually acting this past year in our haunt
It was so
in
much
its
fun.
capacity.
Yeah.
I would love to volunteer at a haunt this next October.
I know.
To see like what a for-profit haunt does.
Yeah, that would be cool.
We may take this year off and just do that.
Okay.
I don't know. Who knows? We got like 6-7 months. Who knows?
I think we're just going to do a lot of research.
The queue for this past October season reached almost 3 hours long. So if you're going to go here in peak season, please understand what you're signing up for.
Yeah, it's
Don't go in
packed.
and then complain, I waited an hour and a half or 2 hours and it was a 10-minute experience. Yeah. When you go to a haunt that has high demand, what do you want?
Yeah, they have to push people through as much as possible.
Right. So this is not a huge haunt in terms of square footage. Like, if you want a huge haunt like that, then go to Netherworld, go to Dark Hour, go to the ones that are 100,000 plus square feet.
Yeah.
This is not that. This is for a small, intimate experience with an escape room type of setup.
Yeah. And I feel like I mean, it's great that they get so many people, but it's like, I can only imagine how overwhelming that must be during that, because, you know, you don't want people to wait that long, but in the end, like, you'd
rather have a good guest experience
you don't
than
have
just shove people
control
through.
over it. You have to do what you have to do, so.
Yeah. You got the next one.
Oh, yeah. So, when we walked in, they gave us, like, 2 coins or whatever.
Yeah, almost like a Chuck E. Cheese coin.
Yeah, it was really cool. And I like that, you know, they told you to place it into the turnstile before we walked in the first room. I guess this is, like, less about theming and experience and more about just, like, maintaining head count and foot traffic. What do you think?
You know, I agree. That was really good. No, for complete transparency, I wrote down, my guess is this is less about the theming experience and more about just maintaining head count and foot traffic attendance levels. You really made that sentence your own, and I appreciate it. It sounded like your voice.
Exactly.
You did really well. It was just funny to me. You changed my to I.
Yeah.
I guess, I don't know, I thought that was funny.
Whatever. See, this is what I live with, guys. He's just always making fun of me.
Live, travel. Oh, don't act like you're the victim here, all right?
But yeah, I thought that was a really cool... No, literally, though, I really thought that was a really cool twist. I really liked...
Yeah.
It's interactive.
I think it was more logistical than themed, but
also, they're in the back of a cage thing. They can't really open the door for you, so it's
That's true. I wonder if the turnstile would have still worked if you didn't put anything in.
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. Interesting.
Excuse me.
So, closing time. They have a closing time listed. It varies per night, per season, per event. But something they mentioned, which I don't want this... I'm hesitant to publicize this because I don't want people to take advantage of it.
Then you shouldn't say it.
Well, we're going to say it just because I think it's a really cool business practice of theirs that I really appreciate.
Okay.
So, we've worked in retail as well as food and beverage.
Mm-hmm.
The worst thing you can do is go into a fast food place 5 to 10 minutes before they close.
Oh my God, please don't do that. That is so rude.
Like, and if you go with the right expectations. Like, if they say something isn't available, it's not available.
We out of chicken.
Right. And don't be hurt if they say, sorry, like, we've closed as much as we can. we had this, 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 and this. Now, if they go, we don't have anything, and it's 10 minutes to close, then they should have just cut off the lights, or they should change their closing time.
Right.
But if they have something available, and you can come to a common, like, I get it, but,
Yeah.
like, you know, think smart.
Right.
So, their closing time...
Be reasonable.
Right. Don't be the jerk. So, closing time is not necessarily a set time here. Don't be the jerk that takes advantage of this rule.
Yeah, don't.
Because, again, this may also fluctuate night to night.
That's
This may
true.
not be a consistent thing.
No.
But this is something that they try to maintain when they are able to. So their internal kind of guideline is after the last group in line exits the attraction, they try to set a timer of about 10 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
If another group comes up before that timer expires, then they allow them to go through, and the timer resets after they exit.
Yeah.
So, as you can guess, this can create really, really long nights for the actors and the
If
staff.
I worked there, I'd be like, oh my gosh, please, no
I
more
would be
people.
miserable.
Please, no more
A
people.
question I had was, do they get paid any extra for nights like that?
Yeah.
No. But, on the flip side, if they have a good cash retention rate, which it sounds like they do,
Yeah.
then that only aids to the character of the haunt itself. If the characters and the actors are invested
Yeah.
and are comfortable with that, then you know it's not just about the money for them. You know it's about the experience of the guest and the guest satisfaction.
Right. And that's why it's just...
That's why I wanted to include this, because that's a big deal. Not every haunt does that.
No.
There are haunts that if you don't get in line past the cutoff, that line might be 2 hours. So they may cut the line off 2 hours before the event ends.
Right. I mean, I could see, like,
I see both sides.
technically we
but-
did that. So, like, we had we were like...
We had, like, not that many people show up, and we weren't going to midnight because nobody was showing up after 10.
Right, but we waited.
We did wait for a while. And
Yeah.
if somebody wanted to go through the experience and they just showed up at 11,
That's
100%, I would have turned everything back on.
It's different. We're a home haunt, but
Yes.
we don't have, like, an actual business. But
Yes.
still...
Not yet.
Not yet.
Maybe
but
after this weekend.
I don't know. I would probably... I don't know. It's different when you're a business owner and a guest. So it's like...
Yeah.
I don't
But
know.
either way, that's a big deal.
Yeah.
That's a big thing to do.
Because
So,
nothing is worse than going to, they'll probably, like, be closed in a few minutes, but I just want to go check this out. We've had so much to do, and we really wanted to check this out.
yeah, and heavy
like,
tourist destinations, I get it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and then being like, oh, sorry, we just closed everything down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that prompted the question that we're going to kind of close with. Do you think they operate with a longer closing task list or opening? Opening task lists, I feel like you can't, at the very least, your opening and closing task lists are powering on or off equipment.
Right.
But when do you schedule cleaning? Is it easier to clean at the end of the night? Is it easier to clean the next morning? In retail and food and beverage, cleaning was the responsibility of the closing crew.
Correct.
And it sucked.
Now, I think the opposite of this, because when it's so late at night and you're tired, you might miss something when you're cleaning, or you're not going to do a thorough job. So, turning off all the lights, go home, get some rest, come back in the morning, have a opening
So what if,
list.
I don't think it applies as much for a haunt, but I think it could. So what if throughout the night somebody has a Coke or they spill something sticky?
That's true.
So where do you have a certain threshold of
I think doing
if
a
it's this, clean
walkthrough.
that? Okay, so a generic walkthrough, classify, how you need to.
Yeah, look,
clean
you
certain
know your haunt, like your area. So if you see something like weird or something, or like somebody dropped something or whatever, then obviously clean that up. But
Something they talked about, I think during the Halloween Horror Nights thing, is a kind of set design team will come in at the beginning of each day or at the end of each night, and they'll post like a red piece of tape over everything that needs to be touched up, repaired, or looked at for further consideration of what to do next.
And that could be also a thing that you could do at closing, just real quick. Take 10 minutes to just go through the floor.
Talk to the actors.
Yeah.
one thing that I can't stand that I've been a part of is in hospitality environments, especially, is at the end of the night, don't have a round table. Like, don't
God.
gather everybody up because people are going to work quicker in different areas.
Yeah.
Don't make it where the slowest person, everybody has to wait for them to be done before everybody can go home. Like,
Yeah,
that's
so annoying.
if somebody's quicker at their job, give
Leave.
that time back to them.
Right.
Let them know they're appreciated and there's a reason to get things done in a timely and efficient manner.
I hated that at my last job. We had to do that, and I was like,
Yes.
I'm ready to, I've done my closing duties, let me go home.
Right.
I
Let
do
me
not
be an
need
adult.
to sit.
I know what I need to do. Check it? Sure, absolutely. Have that follow-up if you want.
I don't need to sit around and, have a 30-minute chat about how my day went. I'm sorry. No matter how much
Catch up with me the next time before I start. Let me be fresh. Let me just go home and detox from this place.
Right.
Yeah, I get that. So yeah, I agree. I think this one you kind of have to balance that. What's a priority tonight? What do I need to know about? What do I need to clean before it becomes a bigger issue? Versus, that's fine. And it's the same staff, most likely, opening and closing. They don't open typically until, 2 or 3, maybe 12 or 11 on weekends.
Like 12 or something, yeah.
So, to get there and, you are the closers, you are the openers, you're not going to have that same divide.
Right.
Where closing shift hates opening and vice versa.
Yeah.
Which is super common in retail and food and beverage.
Yeah.
So yeah, that wraps up Gatlinburg's Mysterious Mansion review.
The reason why this was so long, guys, is because we
enjoyed it.
We really enjoyed it, and we really appreciate certain, haunts that have this type of...
Yeah, ones that are transparent enough to share the history, ones that have such a rich and important history. Like, learning about Vincent Valentine and Lee Coplin was incredible. I thought it was the coolest and most fun rabbit trail I've been on since doing this podcast.
That's good.
I think the family, it's still being family operated and run. The management, the staff, everybody plays into the importance of this haunt.
Yeah.
I think it goes without saying that they all seem to share that appreciation and know that they're appreciated by the staff. Like, this was one of my favorite haunts we've been to. I think it was well done.
I agree.
Nothing really that I would change. There's a few things I'd like to see added, but overall, I thought it was a phenomenal experience.
Yeah. So thanks, guys, for listening to this really super long episode. We hope you enjoyed it wherever you're listening from, and we will talk to you guys next time.
Bye.
Bye.